What a blessing for me to be here. I want to salute Brother Fred, Brother Joseph, and the others who facilitated our coming together, and to be on this panel with such distinguished, not just professors or athletes, but they're really freedom fighters in their own distinctive ways. And that really is my starting point, because I really am very old school. I begin with a tradition that produced me. I am who I am because somebody loved me, somebody cared for me, somebody attended to me, and that's the West Family Shiloh Baptist Church, and then on to college. And so it was my attempt to come to terms with what it means to be so hated and hunted and haunted, what it means to deal with contempt coming your way. And what was it about the tradition that produced me of black people in the face of so much terror and trauma and stigma still dishing out so much love? That's where Frederick Douglass comes from. That's where John Coltrane comes from. That's where Martin King comes from. That's where Audre Lorde comes from. That's where Langston Hughes comes from. That's where Lorraine Hansberry comes from. All of them having different sexual orientations, but they were mustering the courage to wrestle with probably the most frightening question all of us have to come to terms with, which is, what does it mean to be human, and do we have the courage to stay in contact with other people's humanity, especially those who have been hated and haunted and hunted down, you see. And so this past week was, in fact, a very important week for me, because I am very much concerned about how we come up with ways of affirming the humanity of people across the board. And marriage equality is a particular way of affirming the humanity of precious gay brothers and lesbian sisters and bisexual and transgender folk. Now, it's true, 1967, with Loving v. Virginia, when they affirmed interracial marriage, that many of us in the black community, we didn't break dance over that, because the end of black struggle for black freedom was not to marry white brothers and sisters. It was for freedom. And for those who choose, that's fine. But we knew that it was still a moment, a crucial moment. In the same way when they allow for gay brothers and sisters to join the military. I'm anti-militaristic, so I'm not going to break dance over that. But I affirm it because it's another way in which the very narrow bourgeois order can affirm the humanity of a people who have been hated and haunted and degraded. And all of us have to deal with the concessions of the powers that be, because for me, the vicious legacy of white supremacy, the vicious legacy of male supremacy, the vicious legacy of homophobia, we go on and on, anti-Jewish hatred, anti-Arab, anti-Muslim hatred, anti-Latino hatred. These things are all evils. And most of our society is in a state of denial about it, either because they think they feel impotent and can't do anything about it, or they're scared, don't want to tell the truth about it, or don't want to sacrifice enough to engage in organizing against it. And so in the context of Ferguson, Baltimore, Staten Island, Oakland on the one hand, Arizona, California, the magnificent wave of activism among immigrant, so-called undocumented peoples and so forth, and also in the context of increasing concerns about drones dropping bombs on innocent people in Libya and Afghanistan. It's very difficult to talk about lives matter if it just stops at the border. Now, I begin with Black Lives Matter because my mama's black. So I'm unapologetic about that, but it's not going to stop there. I'm an American, but it's not going to stop there, because as a Christian, I fundamentally believe, and I'm a fundamentalist about this line in the Bible, love thy neighbor as thyself. And it's part because we're all made in the likeness and image of God. And if we can keep track of that likeness and image, then we will be in the world, but not of it, which is to say we'll be over against the evils in the world. But those evils in the world are always strong, very, very powerful. And the love that Christians are committed to, the love that secular folk may be committed to, or Buddhists or Hindus or others who make these kinds of choices to be on the love train, will always pit you over against the lies, the mendacity, the criminality, all the various rationalizations for us to somehow defer to a status quo in which people, slices of God's children, are being hated and hunted and haunted. That's why for me, I'm just so blessed to be here. I come to learn and listen, because as a straight brother coming out of black church and on the corner of the nightclubs and other things, I picked up a lot of homophobia, so I had to do a lot of killing inside of myself to deal with that. You see, just like I got a lot of male supremacy too. I got to work it through.
We're going to help you with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But last point though, but even as a black man of 62 years old, living in America and in my right mind most days of the week, that I got white supremacy inside of me too. I grew up in America. I got to kill it every day. I want to stay in contact with the humanity of others as well as myself, because no one of us are pure or pristine. No one of us free of spot or wrinkle. That's what it means to acknowledge the degree to which we have to wrestle with our humanity.
Thank you. Thank you.